Hello, and welcome to our breaking news segment. Up, no,
Well, kind of breaking.
the superhero hub. Yeah, because
Our
yeah,
breaking news slash about a day old news segment.
as obviously you know, we run the very successful series Up for Discussion. Well, akin to Up for Discussion, this is breaking news. I'm Sam,
Oh, Matt.
and let's get on with the show. Right, our first piece of breaking news is going to be the announcement. See, it's not a day old. You said day old news. This is fresh off the whatever,
The presses.
what he said, my co-anchor, right? So, fresh off the presses is the announcement that Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics, the production studio, whatever you want to call them, behind the new Tomb Raider reboot. Um, do they do Hitman as well?
I think so. It's hard to remember with Square. They're a big thing now, but I think Crystal Dynamics do. I think, but definitely Tomb Raider.
Yeah, definitely Tomb Raider. Well, they are currently in development. I say currently in development. We don't really know how far along it is, but they've announced there's going to be an Avengers game, and that's literally like ambiguous, whatever way you want to wrap it up. There's going to be a game. So, what game that's going to be? You know what I mean? It could be anything. Could be open world. Could be linear. Could be massively multiplayer online. Could be, you know, like Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Could be so. I mean, for now, like speculation's ripe. All we know that there is a game. I mean, you'd assume that coming from Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics is not going to be like a kind of linear, like rubbish, like beat 'em up
Well, it might be.
pl-
It might be linear, but
platformer
you've got
game.
to imagine it's probably going to be a single player story driven game.
Yeah, you'd think that it'd be like New York.
Well,
That
probably, but it's the Avengers. I guess they could be anywhere. It depends, where they're going to set it.
do you?
Also, who's going to be in it.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Marvel Ultimate Alliance, is it going to be like you've got like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor? I think Hulk was like the first one because you hear him like raw. So I figure, is it going to be like you have five of them and you're switching between, or you pick one character and you do whatever, or is it
I
going to be like you start off as Iron Man, complete 5 levels, then you play the next 5 levels as Captain America. So I think with the kind of advancements in video games, for it to be like a kind of linear, kind of complete 5 levels, and you're the Hulk, you go and do whatever as the Hulk. I mean, it's served better as like a kind of like a Spider-Man 2 open world, um, New York
well,
City kind of
yeah,
thing.
but Spider-Man 2 was a long time ago now. It's been a lot of advancements since then as well. The thing, I don't think it will be entirely linear, but again, linear is a loose term. The Batman Arkham games are linear, but there's still an open world element to it. You can have both. My question would be, see, I've got to say, I don't really know how it works in terms of the rights in video game land. It's not.
I mean, Lego,
They got
the Lego Marvel game that literally had like everyone in it.
what's the X-Men and
Yeah, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, like literally everyone. Stan Lee was a playable
so.
character. Carnage, Spider-Man,
So you got
Venom.
to think at the very least Wolverine will be in it.
Yeah. Because I mean, if you look to Marvel, I think the Marvel games, when it comes to games, I think they can just use like any characters. I think it's when it comes to TV and film is kind of because
Yeah.
you got to think when these deals were signed, like video games didn't really exist. You know what I mean? It didn't really come into it. So in that way, they've got away with that one.
Well, they did, but I don't. Yeah, I don't think licensing agreements were what they are with films.
Yeah,
At least back then. So they probably owned the rights to everything when it comes to video games.
because if you looked at Marvel Ultimate Alliance, you had the Fantastic Four in there. You had Deadpool. So I mean, you'd think that
Right.
kind of crossed in with that they could literally use anyone.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think.
unless it's like a licensed
Yeah,
game from a
yeah.
movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it might maybe count as merchandising, in which case Marvel still owns all the rights. It's the same thing with action figures. For example, no, you don't. Fox, who own the rights to X Men, don't make X Men action figures. Marvel do. So
Mm.
you won't see a movie tie-in action figure of the X Men because that's Marvel's. Though if Fox wanted to do that, they ain't getting any money from it. Marvel are going to get it. So I guess it's probably the same with video games.
Yeah. Um, so I think the thing is what they've done it's so like you don't really know anything apart from that little trailer. I mean, it is literally all you know is it's an Avengers game, like reassemble. So that's like the big hashtag. So I mean, is is it like select a player and play the game as that, or is it like the thing is who's like the playable characters? That's the issue there. So I mean, literally, it could be anything.
It's Iron Man. It's going to be Hulk.
Yeah, but will they actually be
Or,
playable characters? Will they
yes.
say like, "Oh, it's Avengers game," but you're playing like just some guy? You create your own character and you
No.
like bum around with them.
I don't think so because they've made that mistake before. These video game companies, and it's never worked. It's always been lame. There was an X Men game
Yeah, I remember
years ago.
that.
I forget what it's called, but it's terrible. It's
That
like,
was, I think that was really badly put together. The idea was like good, you know what I mean? Because if you look to DC Universe Online, you know what I mean. You make your own character, you give yourself abilities, and then you kind. That was like the basis. I think that's what the X Men game was kind of based off. Except they ruined it. You know what I mean? At least DC Universe Online was kind of cool.
yeah, but ultimately, that the thing with that is it's a very hardcore gaming base that are going to play that game. If you're going to make this, which I assume is going to be for the mass public, no one wants to go in and play as Joe Schmo. You want to play as Cap or whoever it's going to be. So I imagine you'll play as any of them. I guess you can just switch between it.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that pretty much concludes that bit of breaking news. So we'll move on to our second news story of the day, and that is
That would be the Flash getting a page one rewrite.
yeah. So more chaos. For,
Oh,
more
bad news.
more chaos. See, we got good news and then we got bad news. Yeah, it's going to be
Yeah.
great.
I mean, look, long term, it might be great news. Maybe they might have a great script, but in the short term, that's two directors, kind of three. There was another guy who was attached, but not officially. But definitely two directors have left, and now the movie's been rewritten, and it was meant to come out, I think, in 2018.
So I'm surprised no one taps like Kevin Smith or anything like that to do that,
I
because
like I like Kevin Smith, but
he's way into comic books.
he is, but that doesn't mean he can write a great movie. Like, I like Kevin Smith, but his movies have nothing to do with
He
superheroes fighting each other.
he
It's,
wrote
it's,
he
it's Dude
wrote
Stanley. Superman Lives.
no, he wrote the comic book he writes comic books as well. Like he wrote the
Yes.
comic book that brought Green Arrow back to life. So
Right,
he's
but
written
comic
a
book
lot.
it's a different medium. He's a talented guy in his own field. I like some of his movies, but his movies are two dudes, three dudes, whoever stood around talking about comic books. Again, it's not a Flash movie, you know.
So see, my question is, if say that they've wrote the script and they've got like I don't know, Captain Cold as like a villain, and then they think, yeah, just this is like an analogy or whatever. Like
Hmm.
don't like think too much into it. They're right, and then they think on second thoughts we want reverse Flash in it. Would that constitute a page one rewrite? Like if they decide to bring a new character into it,
I
or,
mean,
or
it
change the
depends.
villain?
I mean, probably. I suppose it depends how heavy in the movie the villain is. You know, if it was like the Amazing Spider-Man 2, for example, and they wanted to switch up Electro for someone else, they could do it in a second. He wouldn't need a page one rewrite for that because he's not really in the movie a lot often. But if they're going to tie it in pretty heavily, if they're going to touch on the rebirth stuff, not the new rebirth, but the rebirth in the Flash when Barry Allen came back, which I imagine they'd probably, if they're doing Reverse Flash, they'll bring that in. Then yes, I think that would be entirely ingrained in the film, and there's no way you couldn't not do a page one rewrite with it.
So I thought I'd just drop that just so like the viewers like can discern between what the kind of prerequisites would be that you'd need for a page one rewrite.
And we should say a page one rewrite basically means they're going right back to the beginning. The entire script has been thrown out and they're starting at the beginning and doing the whole thing again.
So now my thing is like, how can you like get a director for a film when you haven't even like got a script together?
Well, clearly you can't. That's why two of them are left.
Do you think there's going to be is there actually a director attached to this film yet?
You know, I don't know. I think there might be a new guy. I can't remember.
Do you think he's going to drop out when they do after this rewrite?
I don't see. I can't. There might not be. I can't. There was two directors, Rick Famuyiwa, and there was another guy, and both of them have left. They must be after something different. There must be. I've got to imagine they're responding to something. Either the script itself was terrible, which is why two people have left, or they're responding to a lot of the criticism they've got for Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman.
Yeah, because I mean, David Ayers come out and said if he was going to do things differently, he would have had Joker as the main villain. So I mean, see how kind of far can say you did like the Reverse Flash story, you have him kill his mother, have him as the like villain.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the directors, what they're expecting is like would you have a comedy laden film because the Flash is kind of a kind of comic relief kind of guy? Would you have like a comedy kind of more edged towards the comedy film, and then you've got a serious film is like and trying to like not hitting a happy medium, but picking like look like the director comes in and is like right. Flash is a funny guy. I kind of want to do this, like make it funny, like la la la, and then like or like a director comes in and goes right. Obviously, his mother's been killed. There's like a lot of like deep-rooted psychological issues. I want to make the film kind of about that and ahhing and stuff like that.
Well, that's part of the. I think in casting Ezra Miller and being quite a quirky, weird dude, in a good way. I think they are going to go for some element of comedy. It should be said that Barry Allen himself in the comic books wasn't particularly funny. That was always more Wally West thing. And it's not a complaint, but the TV show is kind of part of the reason I think Wally West on the show is a bit annoying. Is his personality is kind of Barry's, and so you've got a different feeling with the character. And so obviously Barry's going to be the hero in the movie. I think they will want a bit of comedy in there. I think a lot of the complaints about the other movies is that they're so damn serious.
Yeah. You can tell from kind of the bits and bobs you've seen from just the Justice League so far that you kind of think that he's going to be a kind of funny guy or whatever.
Yeah, with the Batarang and the reacting to it, he seems quite quirky and weird, so I guess they'll go with that.
So that pretty much wraps up our breaking news segment. So we'll see you in the next episode and update you with all the latest breaking news. I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
We'll see you in the next episode.